Peace and love, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, please like and subscribe. And tonight, welcome to the Healing Cypher. I'm your host, Queen Tamara. Thank you, everyone. And I'm so excited to come before you on this Monday or Moon Day. Tonight's topic is of utmost importance. It's always something happening that we really need to talk about in a cipher and things that we need to delve into and come up with some healthy um, peaceful solutions to some of these issues. And so tonight's topic is be alert. Energy never lies. And the reason why we're talking about that because it's so much happening, and people are talking a lot about these terrible situations that a lot of us are finding ourselves in, not just people in the public eye, like the celebrities, but just people in general. A lot of us are um, falling victim. Well, we don't want to use the word victim in the healing cipher. So some of us are being thrust into these bad situations that we find ourselves in, situations with friends, family, or significant others where there is a lot of abuse and mistreatment and toxic behavior. And this has been going on for many, many, many years. And the time that we're living in now is a time of great change and enlightenment. And so a lot of people are talking about things that used to be taboo in the past, and people are no longer keeping certain behaviors a secret or feeling ashamed or embarrassed about certain things. Now people are talking about it out in the open. For example, narcissism. At one time, I didn't even know what that word was years ago because you so seldom heard the term. And there were so many people that had this behavior, and most therapists or psychologists or the mental health experts weren't talking about it like they are now. And now that we're in this new era of enlightenment, this new age where mental health is no longer a taboo subject, is no longer swept under the rug. People are more ready. There's more readiness to discuss things like mental health or other issues, and people are seeking healing more now, more than ever before, which is wonderful. And with that, a lot of issues are coming out, a lot of issues that have been around for a long time, but because they weren't always addressed, they weren't always acknowledged, people didn't validate how others felt, or even acknowledge that there was wrongdoing going on. It's kind of like in the past, people ignored and looked the other way, but now people are not looking the other way. People are not ignoring bad behaviors like they used to, and people are talking about and exposing a lot of stuff now, which is great. And so now we really need to use our own intuition. And I said a couple of minutes ago, we don't play victim or talk about being a victim in the healing cipher. We all have gone through terrible situations in our past, or things that we needed to heal from. And this is all part of our healing story and our healing journey. And we have all gone through it. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's a part of what made you who you are. And this is a part of your journey, your very unique story. Remember, you are the hero of your story, of your hero story. So you are the hero or the shero. But we have all been through some things, and some of us are continuing to go through some things. But one thing that will help each and every one of us as we're going through something is our intuition. And we're going to talk about intuition tonight. Always trust your intuition. Now, I was not raised to follow my intuition. I used to hear people talk about, oh, women's intuition, but I didn't know exactly what that was. And it was something that um was treated as just something coincidental. Just because you had a feeling about something didn't mean anything. This is the kind of talk that I grew up around. So learning to trust my own intuition, I had to learn, and that was my own journey. But it saved my life in so many different ways, and it saved me from a whole lot of problems when I listened to it and trust it. And so tonight we're going to be talking about trusting your intuition, learning and discovering what it is, paying attention to energy, opening your eyes, opening your mind's eye, and paying attention to what's going on around you, because energy never lies. When you have a feeling something's not right, it usually isn't. When you have a feeling that you shouldn't trust someone or they're not telling you the truth, they probably aren't. When you have that feeling or you catch that vibe that something's just not right, something not smelling right, something not adding up, the math not mathing, the dots are not connecting, pay attention to that. Pay attention to that. And many of us get these warnings ahead of time, but for some reason, we often ignore them and it gets us into a lot of trouble. So we want to avoid that trouble. So tonight we're going to be talking about how to use that intuition and how to trust it and how to trust your vibe when you feel something is not right with the energy. Okay. And so we're going to be exploring the situation of people being deceived in relationships with friends, family, or significant others. It doesn't matter, because you can be in a toxic family, you can have toxic friends or significant others. Most of the time, people think it's just the people we choose to be with, but not necessarily. When it comes to these situations, were there some red flags? If so, what were they? Did you get some warnings? Did you observe their past behaviors? How did they treat other people around them? What was the word on the street? Sometimes you do have to listen to what other people say, but you got to do it with discretion, because sometimes people say things about someone, and what they're saying may be something that you're just repeating what they heard others say, or it could be something that's not authentic or the right information. But sometimes you do have to listen to what others say, especially if several people have the same narrative about someone. Over and over again, you keep hearing certain things about someone, again and again, or you find out this person has a track record of victimizing other people, or hurting or burning other people, figuratively speaking. You got to pay attention to that sometimes. So sometimes you got to keep your ear to the ground. You have to listen to what is being said. Are you looking at or seeing somebody for who they truly are? Okay, so we're going to be looking at and exploring all this. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because not only the things that's currently happening in the world around us, but people are in these relationships that um they've been in for a long time, and then when it goes sour and it ends, they start talking about all these terrible things that were going on that they overlooked, or that they just weren't ready to accept or see, and they are feeling some type of way when it ends. And they will often feel bad about themselves, feel a lot of regret, a lot of remorse for staying in some unhealthy situations longer than they should have. And that's a real talk. Many of us have experienced that. We've stayed in some toxic, abusive, or unhealthy situations longer than we should have, or we got involved into something and got in it too deep, and you may have lost yourself in it. You may have suppressed a lot of yourself in your suppress yourself, or suppress your thoughts and desires, which is not good, in order to you may have dimmed your light, basically, to keep someone else happy, or to allow somebody else to shine, which is not fair to you. And so when this happens, a lot of times we will beat ourselves up, or we'll feel so much remorse, so much guilt, so much shame around the unhealthy decisions that we made in the past, but we don't want to be in that space for long because it's a part of the learning process. And yes, we all have made unwise choices sometimes when it comes to communicating or fraternizing or being involved with certain people, whether it's friends, family, or a significant other. And we want to make going forward, once we begin the healing process, we want to make better choices about the people that we associate with. And we want to make better choices about the people we allow into our lives and the people that we interact with and that we bring into our sacred space and our fold. Um, is more than just the sacred space, is not just your home, which is significant, about who you bring around your home, but it's just your life, your cipher, your realm, your circle that you deal with. You want to be intentional, and you want to bring people to you and attract people to you that are positive and uplifting and encouraging and healing, versus people who will bring you down, who are energy vampires, who will use you, who will mistreat you, who will make you miserable. And so, to avoid all of that, let's learn about trusting our intuition, and let's look at the energy alerts. So, all right. So, number one, here's some helpful tips. Get to know people first before allowing them into your life. Be very selective, just like you're selective about your food. I heard somebody sing one time. I don't remember who it was, but they were saying, I pick my friends like I pick my fruit. And there was a guy that used to live here in the DMV, who used to say that a lot. Brother Bay, he used to say that a lot. And so you should be discerning in that manner too. Pick the same care and the same thoughts that you put into what you're eating, what you're going to wear, what you'll drive. You have to put that same energy into the foods into the friends that you choose and the people that you allow into your life. So get to know people really well before you allow them in. Don't be so excited to get involved with someone if it's a significant other because you've been alone for a while, or you're so enamored with that other person and you jump in feet first and not head first. Take a moment to get to know them, and that goes for everybody. Even family. Unfortunately, for some of us, we didn't get to choose who was going to be in our family when we were children growing up. But once you reach adulthood, you get to choose. So if you got those toxic people in your family that, just destroyed other people in the family, or they ruin family gatherings, they just create confusion, they're dishonest, they're not trustworthy, they're predators, or whatever the case may be. You are an adult now. You can choose if you're going to communicate with those people or not, or if you're going to bring them around you and the family that you've created. Don't let anyone make you feel guilty about your choices. If you choose not to communicate with certain people, if you even choose to cut certain people off, that is your choice. And no one should make you feel angry, sad, hurt, or guilty for the choice that you made, if that is your choice. If you feel unsafe or unappreciated around certain people, it's perfectly okay to eliminate them from your life. Too many people have too many horrible and dangerous, sometimes dangerous situations with people that they want to eliminate from their lives, and then other people in the family or so-called friends or whoever will guilt trip them or gaslight them into communicating or dealing with those people. And that is not fair, and that is not right. So do not allow anyone to make you feel guilty about your choice to do what is best for your health and well-being. When choosing friends and significant others, get to know them well before continuing in a relationship with them. Watch how they talk to other people. You know, I used to have a philosophy years ago that, I had friends who had issues, and I used to say, well, if they're loyal to me, I'm loyal to them. And, I know they may have issues with other people, but that has nothing to do with me. That's what I used to think. But as time went by, I started to see the same patterns of behavior, the same way they would treat others. They eventually, it would come to around to me. So I started to see that this is who they are. This is who they are. Although I have a sense of loyalty towards them, doesn't mean that they have that same sense of loyalty, or it's going to be reciprocated. So keep that in mind. Watch how they talk to other people. Watch how they treat others. That's a good indicator of their character. um you are what you think, and you are what you carry into practice. So if you watch them and they are like Mr. or Miss Do Dirty, they're not trustworthy with other people, they're always caught up in some mess with somebody, that's something you got to watch. Do they have a messy reputation? Are they always in conflict with others? They burn bridges everywhere they go, all of that. Are they always crime victim? Are people always accusing them of wrongdoing? Are they deceitful with others? You got to really watch that. Go back and study and watch the videos I did on narcissism, and get to know, and identify who is a narcissist, because narcissists are people that you also are not trustworthy, and that you have to be really careful of, dealing with them and in the presence of them, because they can try to get you to think that you're crazy. And the gaslighting and the manipulation that they do is just unbelievable. And get to know and watch that behavior, and you may find that you have some narcissists in your life that you need to get get distance yourself from. All right. And so, another thing you should do is always trust the vibe. Trust the vibe. We all have intuition. Even if you don't have a highly developed sense of intuition, you still have it. It is a spiritual sense. Just like we got our five physical senses, you also have spiritual senses. And thank goodness for your intuition, because your intuition can help save your life. It's that knowing, that inner knowing, that sixth sense, they may call it, that small inner voice that tells you, small but powerful inner voice that tells you and warns you about things. Okay. It's a spiritual sense that will let you know when you're in danger or a situation is unsafe. Always pay attention to it. And you hear people second guessing their intuition all the time, and they'll say, oh, something told me not to do that. Or I knew I shouldn't have trusted, that person. I had a bad feeling about, but I just didn't listen. Or they say, I knew something was up with so and so. You knew it, you felt it, you had a feeling, you should have followed it. Why didn't you listen to it? Be careful of people who are telling you not to trust your intuition, because those people probably don't trust their own. Or they're telling you don't trust your intuition because they are the ones that might be trying to deceive you. You got people around you who will say, "Oh, it's just a coincidence," or "It doesn't mean anything." It's just you're just being paranoid. That's just your thoughts, or whatever they'll say. But you trust your intuition, because that is your small voice within. I look at it as the voice of your higher self communicating with you. And whatever you want to call it, you can call it the ancestors, your guardian angels, your guides, your spirit guide, whatever you want to call it. You have it, use it. If something is telling you not to trust someone, not to go somewhere with someone, if something says, this doesn't feel right, it's not. Pay attention to it. How many times have you gotten into some kind of trouble or gotten hurt or injured because you did something that you felt you shouldn't have done? Deep down inside, something told you not to go to that place and you went anyway, or you had a feeling. I don't care if you're in the middle of going somewhere and that feeling creeps up in you, then you need to just break out and leave. Okay. If you get that feeling, you don't have to explain to anybody, whatever. But always trust that feeling. That vibe will tell you when something is not right. If you walk into a place and suddenly you feel uneasy and the place has a cold vibe or something just don't feel right, pay attention to it. If you have a bad feeling about it, it's probably not good for you. So um always pay attention to that. That feeling is there, I think, for our survival. I think it's a very primal um sense and vibration that we're able, a sense that we're able to pick up vibrations, and we all have that ability, whether it's highly developed or not. So just pay attention to it. All right, another thing, um observe people's actions. Observe their actions. Okay, are their actions in alignment with their words? Anybody can say anything and, can talk and run their mouth and have a whole lot to say, and even sounds great. And there's some people who are masters at that. They are great they have the gift of gab. They're really good at telling you what they think you want to hear and persuading you. They have that gift. But your intuition and your mind is stronger than what they can say. So if their actions are not in alignment with their words, that should be a red flag. Are they constantly saying things but not delivering and always making excuses? Many of us know people like that. They got so much to say, but what are they doing? So be aware of that. Be aware of that. That's another red flag. Pay attention to what they do, not just what they say. The way they do anything is the way they do everything. So pay attention to that. What are they doing? And is it in alignment with the things that they're saying? And if it's not, chances are you dealing with somebody that's full of crap. And be aware. Be aware. All right, another one. Do not allow people to guide your decision making. You are, like I said, you are the hero of your own life's journey. You are the captain of your ship. And being the captain, or the lady captain of your ship or whatever, you make sure that you are guiding that ship properly. So don't let others guide your decision making. If other people are controlling you and making the decisions for you and guiding your ship, you're going to have mutiny on your ship. And you really have to get to a point in your life where you can take control of your life and your decisions and make those decisions for yourself. Create boundaries. Learn to create boundaries. If you are dealing with people, like some people tell me, well, my parents, they don't allow me to make boundaries. That's a problem. That's a problem. You probably, like I said, dealing with narcissistic people, or people who are just very controlling and overbearing. But to, um, don't allow fear to guide your decision making either. You have to make your own decisions. And when I say fear, fear of being alone, fear is a great motivator, unfortunately. And we want to empower ourselves and move into a space where we're making decisions from a place of power, from a place of courage, and from a place of our inner knowing and strength. We don't want to make decisions out of fear. When you make decisions out of fear, the outcome is not going to be good for you. So making decisions out of the fear of being alone. Many people stay in toxic situations because they are afraid of being alone. They'll say, well, who else am I going to get? Or, it's hard to find someone, or I'd rather just deal with this than to deal with that, or I know they'll change, and besides, whoop de woo, whatever. That's fear. The fear of being alone, the fear of not finding what you need or what you're looking for, the fear that you are missing out on something. A lot of us feel that we have to stay in bad situations because we're missing out on something. Prime example, this time of year, the holiday season is coming up, and a lot of people tell me they don't like being around certain people or certain toxic um, family dynamics this time of year, but they feel that they don't want to spend the holidays alone. They don't want to be away from certain, other family members, or they don't want their children to not see these toxic, troublemaking people. So they deal with it, and they just have to deal with the regrets later. That's another example of fear, the fear of missing out on something, the fear of failure. Some people stay in bad relationships and toxic situations because of the fear of fail, the fear of failing at being married or being in a relationship or finding um that special someone. The fear of poverty and lack. Many people stay in situations that make them feel empty and broken because of the fear of poverty, fear of not having enough, fear of not, if I leave, where am I going to stay? This kind of thinking, that's fear. Fear of your so called biological clock clicking. A lot of women will make unhealthy decisions because they are afraid that they're getting older. They're afraid that with age and with time that they are going to they have limited choices. They're not going to find anyone. They're getting older, etc. I have to settle. I have to deal with it. No, you don't. If you want to start a family and you're in a unhealthy relationship that's not producing, or you're not feeling fulfilled in it, don't feel that you have to settle for less, or that you have to be in a toxic, dangerous situation or unhealthy situation because of a so-called biological clock. Yes, many of us are aging. However, you can still have a family. There's no set age. You don't have to start your family in your 20s. You can start it later. And if you feel that that's not an option, there's always adoption. There's so many different alternatives. We got somebody in the chat. Hey, Dia, thank you for joining us. So there's other alternatives. Do not feel like you have to settle. Don't feel like you're running out of time. Don't feel like, oh, you're getting too old for certain things. Never feel like that, because age is just a number. And when you start feeling like that, then you start being that. So don't listen to that. Stop listening to people who are trying to fill you with fear. um they will project their fear onto you. They may even say those things like, well, you can't leave so and so because you're getting older. Where else you gonna find someone like that? They have money, they have this, they have that. You're not gonna find anybody else or like them. Stop listening to people who are talking like that and trying to make you feel afraid, because they are afraid. Okay, they're only projecting their fears onto you. If you have to move about in silence and keep some things to yourself, then do that. Because don't allow other people to convince you to do something that is not for your highest good and not for your best. Okay, so keep in mind, a lot of people who stay in abusive and toxic situations due to fear. They stay because of fear. People stay in jobs that they hate because they're afraid they're not going to find anything else. They're afraid of failure. They're afraid that, they're getting older. They can't find anything else. All of that is fear. Okay. If you are a spirit, fear will enslave you to situations that you will regret later. And you may be stuck to a point where you can't get out. So, if you are a spiritual person, There's lots of scriptures that you can read that can reinforce not allowing fear to guide your decision making. You may have read, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." Um, Put that into practice, activate that. Your shepherd, if you know that's your shepherd, don't have any fear. Allah is sufficient. That's another verse that is in the scriptures. You know that Allah has your back and is going to provide for you, and everything else will come at its proper time. You alone yourself are more than sufficient. Okay, so don't allow anyone to make you feel that you have to settle or allow the fear to guide your decision making. Next, pay attention to the red flags. A lot of times we see red flags in people, we see a lot of things that are not quite right, and we don't pay attention to it. Give it time, and all things will be revealed. I noticed I used to listen to the Steve Harvey Morning Show a lot when I was driving to work, and he would recommend that when you start a relationship with someone, he would say, "Ladies, please wait 90 days before you're intimate with someone, because you'll get to know them, and not, it takes about that long to really get to know someone." He said, because people may try to deceive you and hide who they really are in the beginning, but they can't do it for so long, and eventually it will be revealed. And I totally agree with that message. So give it time, and all things will be revealed. That's another reason why I said, with number one, get to know people really well. The time period is one when things are being revealed much faster, that we're living in right now. So things are manifesting faster, things are being revealed and coming to the surface faster. A person cannot deceive you for a long period of time. Only you can deceive yourself, okay? They may try to fool you in the beginning. They may put on these airs, and they may put on this mask of who they are, but eventually they are going to expose themselves. You're going to start seeing who they really are. When you see who they really are, believe it. Believe it. They'll start telling on themselves, or things will start to unravel. They may become unhinged under certain circumstances, etc. You will see what they're truly about, and they cannot fool you any longer. So don't second guess yourself. When you start seeing those red flags, remember, red means stop. All right, next, study narcissism. Please, if you don't do anything else, get to know and recognize what is a narcissist. Okay, that pattern of behavior is so toxic, and there's so many people that have it, and they are clever and skillful at manipulating and controlling people and convincing people that they're not doing anything wrong. So study narcissism, study other mental health disorders. Okay. You don't have to be an expert psychiatrist to recognize disturbing behavior and to recognize crazy. All right. There's a lot of bad behaviors out there, and some of these people out here are just totally bananas, crazy. I can say some other words, but I'm trying to be discreet. You know what they are, and you've seen it. You don't have to have a degree to say that this person is sick and they out their mind. And you have every right to recognize it, acknowledge it, and you don't have to be bothered with it. Pray for them, hope they get the help that they need, but their problem doesn't have to be your problem. And so there's a lot of people out here that are suffering from all kinds of disorders. And like I said, their problem doesn't have to be your problem. Okay. So make sure you get to know and recognize some behaviors that are suspect and that are disturbing. If their behavior is disturbing, or something's not sitting right with you, doesn't feel right, believe it. All right, next, when you distance yourself from toxic people, don't be so quick to forgive and forget. I know there's pressure from people, especially when you're dealing with relatives. There'll be pressure to forgive and forget about stuff. People say, well, forget about that. That was in the past. Some things you shouldn't forget because this is who the person is, okay? And it's a difference between a person who makes a mistake and an unwise choice and versus someone who's always making unwise choices. So you have to discern whether it's the person is, if you can forgive and forget, or if you can forgive the person but you just remember that what this is who they are, this is their behavior, and you can choose whether you want to continue engaging with them or not. You don't have to deal with anybody that you don't want to, that you don't feel is in your life for your highest good. And if they start pressuring you might be dealing with somebody that is trying to trick you, or con artist, or narcissist. So remember, you can, don't be so quick to forgive and allow the person back into your life to hurt you again. Now some people apologize, but when they apologize and there's no um real improvement in their behavior, there's no sincere change, then they're being manipulative. And learn the difference. There's a big difference between someone who's made mistakes or bad choices and somebody who's manipulative. So be really careful of that. Don't allow people to prey on your kindness because they will. All right. Um, when dealing with people, learn to rely on your own thinking sometimes. I know a lot of us, we're social beings, and we ask other people sometimes, what do they think about certain situations in our lives? And we often seek advice from other people. And there's nothing wrong with that, especially if the person is somebody that you can trust, um, or someone that you feel gives good guidance. And that's all great, and that's all fine, and that's all dandy. But sometimes you are the one that has to make the proper decisions when it comes to your life. And a lot of times, a lot of us rely heavily on other people's decisions and other people's opinions. And sometimes that's not good. So don't always rely on what other people think. Use your own brain, okay? Use your own thoughts, use your own intuition, because some people may give you advice that's not good for you. They may give you some advice that's telling you to stay into some situations that are not healthy at all. And they're projecting, once again, what they think. Because I've been around lots of people before who have told me as well, and I've watched them tell other people to stay in some situations that are very, very bad and unhealthy, because they think you should. But what about what you think? And what about how you feel? And if you're not feeling loved, if you're not feeling honored, if you're not feeling validated, if you're not feeling appreciated, if you're not feeling respected, in any kind of situation, whether it's on the job, with family, relatives, whatever you want to call them, your crew or whoever. If you're not feeling honored, loved, respected, appreciated, and valued, then you need to kick those people to the curb and find somebody else to deal with. Deal with yourself for a while. If the person is not feeding your soul, if this person, whoever it is draining your energy, your life force energy, and just making your life difficult, your own energy, your own soul is precious, and this person doesn't value you for that. If they're not enhancing your life, what are they doing for you? Are they abusing you? Is one or the other. So if they're not doing, if they're not bringing any light, any love, any energy, positive energy to your life, then something needs to change. You have some tough questions you need to consider. All right. Next, it's okay to be alone sometimes. I know we all go through periods in our lives where we need some solitude. And then there's times in our lives where we feel like we need to be around people, we need to be more social. And there should be a healthy balance of both. Solitude is a good place to be in, because that's where you can heal. We can heal when we are alone. When you're ending a relationship or a toxic friendship or whatever the case may be, you need some time alone to heal and some time alone to think and sort some things out. Don't be so quick to run and start another relationship when you just got out of one. I know a lot of us do that and on the rebound, but that's not a good idea. You need some time alone. And even if you're distancing yourself from bad situations with others, you need some time alone to heal and to just sort out your thoughts and, kind of evaluate the situation. We were all born alone, and we have a brilliant spiritual counsel that is with us always to help us. So even if it looks like you're alone, you're never really truly alone, because you do have your spiritual counsel to assist you, and you got yourself. You can hear your own thoughts better when you're in solitude and when you are by yourself for a while. You can sort some things out in solitude. You can get your priorities straight. And that's what many of us need, especially when we are ending something unhealthy and toxic. We have to kind of prioritize and look at where we were, where we are now, and where we're planning to go in the future. And so you need that time alone that you can do that for yourself. That's something only you can do. You can really see who is who and what is what when you're in that quiet space of solitude. Don't look at it as alone time. Look at it as solitude or isolation, where you are going within and doing more things for yourself and spending more time with yourself and your thoughts and prioritizing and changing and growing and developing. Unfortunately, we live in a toxic world, and everybody doesn't have your best interests at heart. And there are very bad people out there who just don't have your best interests in heart. They just, whatever their intentions are, you know, don't worry about that. But you focus on what is best for you. And if you need some time alone and you need some time to create boundaries and enforce those boundaries, by all means, do it. You have a right to defend yourself against all harm and alone, and for a time to guard and strengthen yourself as you heal. So remember that. Just like you would eliminate an external enemy, you also do the same thing with those who are threatening your internal um, healing or your internal work. So if you have a garden and you see your garden is under threat by a pest, you will eliminate that pest. You will get the pesticides out, the natural ones, and you will do what it takes to eliminate that pest. Put a fence around your garden, put a scarecrow in the garden, whatever it takes, to eliminate that pest because it's threatening your garden. So you have to look at your beautiful mind, your heart, your soul as your garden. This is your internal, your secret garden, your sacred space. And anyone that is threatening those things, you have to eliminate the external energy, the enemy or that external pest, just like you would do with your physicality. You do the same thing with your inner self and your inner space. And last but not least, be the kind of friend or person that you want to attract in your life. If you are healing from narcissistic abuse or toxic relationships or friendships, or if you just left a job where you felt violated or abused or just not appreciated whatever the case may be. It didn't feed your soul. There's no wrongdoing on anyone's part. It just wasn't good for you. It wasn't the right fit for you, whatever the case may be. Work on creating within and around you the kind of energy of what you want to attract in your life. So if you were around a lot of people who were disloyal, work on loyalty, being loyal to yourself first, and being around people who are like-minded, who are loyal. If you dealt with people who were dishonest, who may have been robbing you or cheating you, or whatever the situation is, start surrounding yourself with the kind of people that you would rather have in your life versus what were in the past. Be the kind of friend, be the kind of person, be the kind of significant other that you want. If you want someone that's honest, that's decent, that is trustworthy, that's loyal, be those things and attract those things, and don't settle for less than what you want in your life, because it's what you want and you deserve it. You deserve to have the things that you need, and the kind of love, joy, peace, and happiness. All right. So let's see. Any questions in the chat? None this week, family. All right. So let's move on to the meditative thought of the week. We're going to bring this to a close. Meditative thought this week. There is a saying, trust your intuition. Everyone has intuition, although it's more developed in some than others. However, this spiritual sense and ability is there for us as a common sense ability, and it helps keep us safe. We all hear that voice within telling us not to do something, not to eat something, not to go somewhere, etc. But too often we ignore it and we let fear or our ego or the thoughts and wishes of others take control, causing us harm. Always think and let your thinking for your best interest be your guide. Focus on educating yourself of your true nature. That's where that solitude comes in. Focus on your goals and healing your spirit, your mind, and your body. As you heal and discover who you are, you will heal your connection to all that is and become the very best version of yourself. So I hope tonight's broadcast was helpful to each and every one of you. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give me some comments down below. Also, you can feel free to send me an email if you have any questions. And I hope to see each and every one of you next week, same time. We're here for the Healing Cypher on Mondays, and Wednesdays we have live as well. We cover many different topics, new and exciting content coming up. You got any questions, anything that you want to see that we haven't covered, please let me know. I'll look forward to hearing from you and engaging with you guys more, and to provide you with the kind of content and helpful tips and information that is useful to each and every one of us, because we all want to heal and be better and to get better and to have a better, happier existence. So thank you for watching. Peace and love. I hope everyone has a wonderful week. May you be surrounded by peace, love, good health, harmony, and happiness. One love, everyone.